While everyone is enjoying their dinner, hot off the press, the silent auction is closing at 8 o'clock, but the new bidding increments on all items are $10. Every item has a bidding increment of $10, so now's the time to get back in the silent auction, which will close at 8 o'clock. Thank you, and enjoy your meal. The silent auction closes in 5 minutes. Please get your final bids in. The silent auction will be closing in 5 minutes. Just 2 minutes left in the silent auction. Just 2 minutes left. Now is the time. One minute left in the silent auction. Just 1 minute left. Ladies and gentlemen, the silent auction has now closed. Congratulations to all of those who have won. Let's have a big hand for all of those who have won something from the silent auction. At the end of the night, please check the checkout table to claim your items. Congratulations to all of our winners, And thank you to all of our bidders. Ladies and gentlemen, please call your attention to our screen in the front.
Hello, my name is Christina Pate, and I am a first year at Biola University. I have been with the College Bound program for 4, going on 5 years. It has done great things, and I am just so thankful for the program. Thank you for the never-ending support that you've given College Bound, and have a great evening at the Be Great Gala.
Please welcome to the stage the Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange Coast Director of Corporate Relations, David Blair.
Wayne, you're right. It's not fun walking up to those pictures. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, and thank you for being here. Are we having a great time? All right. I think we can do a little better. I'm going to try it again. We'll pretend we didn't do that. Are we having a great time? Oh, yes. Thank you. Live events are back. All right. Well, after the last year, nearly 2 years we've had together, I'm sure it's not just me who's enjoying being able to be here live and in person with those of you who are with us, or for those of you who are celebrating from home virtually. It's great to see you as well. Tonight is an incredible and very important night. And let's take a moment to first show our appreciation for our board of directors, our incredible board of directors who help us serve this mission. So if you are here and you're part of our board, please stand up so we can recognize you. All right, by now, I hope we've all enjoyed our delicious meal. We've won some great silent auction items during our silent auction. In a few moments, our CEO, Robert, will share his message on where we are headed, and what we need to be for the families who rely on us most. We'll hear from one of our college-bound members on her experience at the club and what role we've played in her life. We'll be able to celebrate some amazing partners who have exemplified our mission, vision, and core values. We'll bid on some incredible live auction packages, and during our sponsor youth portion, we'll be able to give in order to further support the work we have ahead of us as an organization. Now, why are we here? We're here to celebrate impact and resiliency, 2 words the Boys and Girls Club knows a lot about. From April 2020 through August 2021, the Boys and Girls Club was able to reopen to serve more than 500 kids through all-day services in order to mentor and guide them through remote learning, as we provided access to technology, internet, and mentor professionals who would help them work through challenging circumstances. Our college-bound program switched to a completely virtual model where we served more than 2,500 teens through thousands of hours of virtual mentoring and advising. We helped high school seniors gain access to $2.4 million in financial assistance, securing an average of $16,500 per graduating senior, making college financially possible for over 100 kids. And our COVID response plan became a blueprint for many organizations throughout the country seeking to serve their communities during a pandemic. We addressed food insecurity by providing nearly 500,000 meals to OC families. We partnered with numerous corporate and individual supporters to safely deliver food to cars, carts, and even strollers as families came to us weekly for support. We provided technology to those who needed it most, from Chromebooks to laptops to free wireless internet, all to bridge the technological divide as technology became more important during remote learning. And we did all this through the generous support of partners, many of whom are celebrating with us tonight. I wanted to take a quick moment to just highlight one of those partners this evening as we honor our first ever corporate champion, loanDepot. Thank you. Yes. loanDepot exemplifies the true definition of a corporate champion as they came to us early in the pandemic and asked the important question, how can we do more? Now, to learn more about that, let's just turn our attention to the screen.
I'm Lupita Mena. I'm the Director of Family Strengthening for Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Orange Coast. We started the food distribution program 3 years ago. We saw that there's a need in the community for basic needs, and food being one of the biggest one. Most of the families in this community are low-income families. It has always been very important to us to be able to serve them individually, as everyone has different needs. The loanDepot team has really stepped up to be huge supporters of Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange Coast and to our weekly food distribution as well. They have been with us since the start.
I first got involved with the Boys and Girls Club when I was a teenager. I was 15 years old, and working at a Boys and Girls Club in my hometown was the first job I ever had. That job, I really say, formed so much of me and my life going forward. Hi, I'm Nicole Creo. I'm the EVP Chief Accounting Officer for loanDepot. When I moved to Orange County, my husband and I were really looking for some way to start to get involved in our community. It took one visit to the club, and my husband and I were hooked. And at loanDepot, I found this amazing group of team members that also wanted to get involved.
I'm David Duong, and I'm an IT manager here in the technology organization of loanDepot. I was in Boys and Girls Club as a kid, and then seeing that this Boys and Girls Club not only did that, but took it to another level to give back to the community around them, it was just amazing to see, because they've given back to the community so much.
When loanDepot does them, they do it together. They get involved and make sure it's more than just a check that's being written to an organization. My name's Chris Giglio. I'm the Vice President of Corporate Real Estate at loanDepot. First time I went to one of the food distribution, it was just a couple pallets of food that had been brought in from the Second Harvest Food Bank. I went back a second and third time, and the thing kept growing from there. By the end of the time we were involved in it, it was several pallets lined up on the street, and at the end of the day, you were tired going home after working the line for a couple hours, but it was extremely fulfilling. That made you pretty proud walking away at the end that you help people in the community. Every one of us that got involved kind of took it upon ourselves to be a personal investment, and it just kind of told the story of who we are as a company. It made me proud of loanDepot.
It's the grassroots that matter, right? We can all volunteer and do things for various organizations, but when you can meet the community, it's really a big deal. I'm Bridget Ataya, VP Sales Strategy of our retail division. I know we always do things with a bang here at loanDepot. We go all out, and really the amount of people that showed up from within our organization, it speaks to our culture. And then each week meeting different family members and seeing the impact, that's what keeps me going back. I can feel and measure the difference that I'm making.
My name's Whitney Perkin. I'm a Senior Talent Acquisition Lead at loanDepot. Being able to see these families that you knew needed some help and be able to provide them, food and, groceries, and there was warm meals, that was just something that was truly heartwarming, and it really kind of made you feel like you were a part of something bigger. For these kids and seeing the looks on their faces, that's kind of what keeps driving me personally, just because, not everyone gets that opportunity, and I think that part of being at loanDepot is being able to give them that opportunity. I was blessed as a kid that for my parents to be able to be there and support me, and not everyone gets that growing up. You come in where you're needed and you just get the job done and you help make that family's day. I always feel like everyone always goes above and beyond.
As much as loanDepot has impacted and helped the Boys and Girls Club, I think the club has impacted all of us just as much. I think for me, knowing that those are the people that I'm working with every day just makes all the difference.
Growing up in the city of Santa Ana, there weren't a lot of resources like this. So I identify with the families here because I see my family, I see my parents, and think it's just so beautiful to be able to now see just how much caring and empathy and love there is. All of the work that Team loanDepot has done this last year is really such a beautiful testament to who they are as a work family and to how much they care about our community and wanting to give back. All of the love and labor that has really gone on behind the scenes, because it really does take a village. They have just made everything easier for us to be able to serve the families of Santa Ana and this community, which is just incredible to me and to us. Thank you, loanDepot, from our Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange Coast family to your family. Thank you.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, help me celebrate one last time our corporate champions. And for our friends from loanDepot who are in the room, please stand up so we can recognize you.
Please welcome to the stage the Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange CEO, Officer Robert Santana.
Thanks for that extra officer, Grant. Voice of God. I was worried this morning, not because it drizzled, but because I was worried that some of you forgot how to get dressed up for a special event. I'm very glad that nobody showed up wearing yoga pants, especially you, Wayne. I'm really excited to help introduce our honoree for the night, DreamMaker, for the year. But before I introduce Mark Colon, Dr. Mark Colon, and his impact to the organization, I want to give a little bit of background around our partnership with Chalk. In 1998, an 8-year-old member of our Boys and Girls Club in Santa Ana, Felipe Carrillo, had gotten sick, like most kids get sick. For all the parents in the room, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Felipe got sick, and his parents were uninsured. They didn't have health insurance. They couldn't afford to take him to the doctor to go be seen, and so he kept getting more sick. I was that kid growing up. I didn't have health insurance, and you typically went to the doctor when you absolutely needed to go to the doctor. And he got worse. His sickness got worse, and what his parents didn't know at the time is that he developed meningitis. And so the tragedy of this story is that Felipe passed away in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. This affected our community very deeply. This tragedy affected everyone. One of our board members, Mark Press, was personally impacted by this story, hearing that one of our kids had passed away because of the gap in health coverage. He personally paid for the funeral expenses and came back to our board and sparked the momentum that would eventually become the partnership that we have with Children's Hospital of Orange County. And because of his leadership and the leadership on the board and on staff, 21 years ago, we became the first Boys and Girls Club in the country to build a children's clinic, a full-service, standalone clinic at a Boys and Girls Club. For every day since that clinic was built, Dr. Colon has been the primary doctor for 21 years, seeing over 100,000 patients in his tenure. Tonight we honor his legacy and his impact not only to the Boys and Girls Club as one of our board members, and not only as the primary physician at this clinic and the impact that he has there, but the energy and the passion that he brings to this community. He really is one of our pillars in the city of Santa Ana. I remember meeting Mark for the very first time 16 years ago when I first started as a volunteer. And I met Mark, and I noticed that he was wearing mismatched tennis shoes. And I didn't know him well, so I didn't say anything. I just figured he was so focused on being a really good doctor that he just didn't have any leftover brain space to worry about what shoes he was wearing to work that day. And so I just figured it was like a one-time thing. Next time I saw him, mismatched shoes again, right? And the next time after that, and I started to think, I think this is like his thing, right? That's his thing. And I told myself, I'm not gonna say anything unless he shows up without shoes, because I'm pretty sure he's violating some form of doctor policy or Hippocratic oath for that. And so what I didn't know at the time is how important Mark would become to my life as a friend, and how much influence he'd have on me in my career here at the Boys and Girls Club. He's someone that I look up to. He's someone that I go to for inspiration. On our board of directors, he has had several years of leadership and advice, and the way that he approaches things is extremely valuable as we process opportunities. More recently, he was our in-house expert on COVID policies, safety policies. How do we make sure that we're keeping our kids safe and our staff safe? And what a lot of people in this room probably know, but maybe not everyone, is that after the lockdowns, we shut down too. And 2 or 3 weeks after that shutdown, we reopened our Boys and Girls Clubs to serve the kids of healthcare workers and first responders, those that could not work remote, and those that depended on organizations like us in a school system to watch their kids while they go out in the front lines and fight this pandemic. Well, it was Dr. Cologne's expertise and his advice throughout this process that helped us develop our safety protocols. These safety protocols were not only the blueprint for how we would open our clubs up again, they also were shared with our national organization, and they became the blueprint for Boys and Girls Clubs across the country so that they could reopen their doors to serve their community. I could go on and tell more stories about how Dr. Cologne doesn't know how to match his shoes, but I really want to emphasize how important his presence is in the community. Imagine being a young kid going to the doctor and meeting someone that looks like you, a Hispanic that came from a community like yours, someone that you can touch and learn about, and how that has a potential impact on your life as someone that may be growing up in poverty. These are the heroes that kids get a chance to get to know that may change their trajectory for the rest of their lives. This tragedy that happened in our community with Felipe has resulted in a complete overhaul in the trajectory of our Boys and Girls Club. And I just want to thank you, Mark, for all that you've done for this community, all that you will continue to do for this community, and just how grateful we are to have you as a part of our family. Please join me in recognizing our friend, Dr. Mark Cologne. So for the DreamMakers that are in the room, you've received different types of awards over the years, so it makes sense why you didn't get this. But this is a custom stethoscope that is branded with tonight's honor, DreamMaker 2021, your name. I believe it's still functional. It is functional, so if you wanted to use it, I guess you could, but thank you again.
No, thank you so much. Thank you, Robert, for those very kind words. I would be remiss without starting off saying I was blessed with a wonderful family. Jennifer, thank you so much for 20 years being married to me. She might count these years in dog years, so she's been married to me for 140 years. I love the way you care for me, your devotion, and understanding that it in me. Talia, my daughter, you're an old soul, and I can't wait to see what the future has for you. Lucas, my son, always does things with exuberance and has a zest for life, and I love that. I love the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. My village starts with my parents. My father was born in Jerez, Zacatecas, Mexico. He didn't have a formal education, and he worked a lot harder than I've ever worked in my life. But at a young age, he would ask my brother and I, "What do you want to do after high school?" So he started, my brother and I, to start to dream. What aspirations? To my wonderful mother, who was an awesome cook, a loving lady, and baked for me when I was in my residency. Residency is after you graduate from medical school, you study your area of medicine, mine being pediatrics. So for the next 3 years, my mother would bake for me every fourth night when I was on call, which endeared me with the nursing staff, especially when you're a first year. I might have had some book knowledge, but they had experience, and they shared that experience with me. And to all those nurses, I thank you for making me who I am today. To my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Hevron, that spurred my interest in science. To Ms. Ott, who did really cool biology experiments while we're in high school. To Dr. Eloy Rodriguez, a professor that I asked to do research with, even though I only had one biology class underneath my belt as a freshman in college. That was his class. He gave me the opportunity to do research. I didn't wash test tubes, but he allowed me and taught me how to do research, which I did until I graduated. To my 2 mentors in medicine, Dr. Tessman, who they called the hippie doctor because he wore a beanie, he had this beard, and Dr. Gonzalez. If you saw him, he was always in a Pendleton shirt, handlebar mustache, dark rimmed glasses. He looked like a cholo. And these 2 gentlemen taught me it wasn't what you looked like, it's your desire. So when I talk to elementary kids in the Santana School District, I'll ask them, "What do you think a doctor looks like?" They'll raise their hand. "Oh, a white coat, okay. Stethoscope, that's good." And then I'll say to them, what a doctor really looks like, look to your right, look to your left. Who's in front of you? Who's behind you? That's what a doctor looks like. That's what the next great teacher looks like. That's what the awesome auto technician looks like. It's not a look, it's who you want to be. Also, I need to thank Chalk and my bosses, Dr. Golden and Anita. They allow me to practice medicine. They take care of the bureaucracy of medicine. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So you see, I had a village around me. The question is, where's this village for the kids that we take care of at the Boys and Girls Club? Well, part of the village is everybody here who's supporting this gala tonight. And thank you for coming here. I love this name, DreamMaker. Not that I consider myself a dream maker, but to dream is to aspire. To have aspiration brings hope. And Robert, I wouldn't say he's a dream maker, he's more a daydreamer. Because day in and day out, he's thinking, how can we make the experience of the kids that we take care of that much more special? And it's also the board who gives their support, has no errors, and wants to see how we can enhance the experience of these kids. And I can't say enough about the staff that works at the club. The staff brings a caring, nurturing nature to the kids that we see. They allow these kids to thrive. They give them the opportunity to see things or experience technology and other things that they might not experience if they weren't at the club. And they really are the dream makers of this club. Lastly, I'm still dreaming, and my dream tonight is that we're able to raise the most money that we ever have for the kids that we take care of, so they can have dreams, so they can have aspirations of a future and hope for a better tomorrow for their lives. Thank you.
Chief Daydream Officer. I like that new title. Wayne, um, you know, I think all of us feel what we just saw Mark share with us is this passion, right? And to have the ability to set a target or set a goal and reach that goal. And I think one of the things that connects Mark and I together so well is that we look at the kids we serve today and we see ourselves or we see our own kids, and we want the same opportunities for the kids we serve that we have for our own. And I think about mentorship a lot. And that's what I spend most of my day daydreaming about, is the power of mentorship, the influence that we have on young people so that they can find their voice, find their passion, find their path in life. And as our board knows and our staff knows, we believe it to the core of who we are, that it should not matter who you are, where you're born, how much money your parents make, what school your parents came from. None of those things will or should dictate whether or not you can achieve great things in life. We also know that greatness exists in everyone. And this last 19 months has been an example of that. You know, there's obviously a lot of pain, and there's been devastation. There's been so much damage as a result of this pandemic this last year, and all of us have felt it through a different lens. But there's also a story here about resiliency. There's a story about how organizations and people like you have stepped up when others would not. This is a story about choosing to do the right thing even when it wasn't easy. I can tell you that at the beginning of this pandemic, none of us knew that we would end up distributing over 500,000 meals to families who were food insecure. But we did that. For years, we've spoken about the digital divide. The digital divide is the technology that exists out in the market today, the lack of access that low-income kids have to that technology. This isn't a new thing. We've spoken about this for years, about how this is a crisis. We have kids that do not have access to the basic technology, and it might as well be that kids don't have books. Because imagine being a young person today and not knowing how to turn on a laptop or how to navigate the laptop or how to use the internet for good. Imagine that gap. I like our fans in the back row right here. Never had that. Imagine that gap that exists. And that young person growing up to become an adult and even making the basic attempt to go out into workforce. Who will hire someone that doesn't have those basic skills, not just today, but in the next 10 or 15 years? And it took this pandemic to force our school system and the community to finally address this digital divide. And isn't it amazing that out of an emergency, we finally figured out how to get laptops and Chromebooks into homes that didn't have them? And then we figured out, well, they didn't have internet. We figured out how to get internet coverage through partners like Cox that were able to offer free internet services to families who couldn't afford it, or Wi-Fi cards for families who needed that mobile pass. The school district was actually driving around a bus that had a Wi-Fi signal and parking it in neighborhoods that were basically disconnected from the internet. Isn't it amazing how emergencies will force us to create solutions to these problems that were always important, but just not important enough? During this pandemic, we distributed food, laptops, Chromebooks. We actually distributed headphones for kids because they were now in the home with multiple kids all logging on and needed that privacy. We distributed books, but more importantly, we distributed love. Can you imagine how isolating it must have felt for families and for kids that didn't have the same access of networking or friends or the ability to quarantine at home or to buy all the ridiculous stuff on Amazon that we ended up buying during the pandemic. Not all families had that opportunity. So during this last year and a half, our organization stepped up. We did things that we had never done before. We figured out solutions to problems we didn't know existed. We opened our clubs when it wasn't easy to do. We were one of the first Boys and Girls Clubs to do that. And I remember that board meeting when we discussed risk. And it would have been a lot easier to just say no. Let's just wait for this thing to pass by. Our board stepped up and they supported us. They believed in this organization's ability to do the right things. But I want to come back to the beginning. Every child has the opportunity to do great things. Every child. And the reality is that not every child starts at the same place in life. We provide a voice to those who do not have a voice. We provide support to those young people who need that extra push, that extra leverage, so that they can close the gap that's in front of them and connect them to their opportunities that they're more than capable of. It was mentioned earlier, we raised, during this pandemic, $2.6 million in scholarships and financial aid, not for the entire college education, but just the first year of college for just our graduating class. Can you imagine that we secured more than any year before? Yes. It was a record year. We were able to provide the financial resources that these outgoing seniors needed in order to start their first year of college. But beyond just the money, securing those resources, it was the advising that we provided, the one-to-one coaching that we provide to high school students through College Bound. Making sure that they have a support system, making sure that they have an adult that can help them navigate the very confusing process of figuring out what you should do when you grow up and what college you should go to. If any of you have high school age kids or have had high school age kids in the last few years, you know exactly what I'm speaking about. It is extremely challenging to figure out how to apply for college these days, by design, I think, and how to fund it. And we help facilitate that. I think about these young kids, 6 years old, 8 years old, starting out at the Boys and Girls Club, coming to us, wanting to have fun and meet with their friends, and us recognizing that this is the beginning of their journey. This is the opportunity that we have to have influence on their life. This is the opportunity that we have to make sure that they stay on the right track from the very beginning, but if they fall off off the right track, that we're able to get them back. Mentorship has the ability to unlock potential. And I'm going to make the assumption that every successful person in this room today is successful, not because you did it all by yourselves, but because you have benefited from the generosity of other people. Someone has been there along the way to encourage you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to be there when you messed up, to help get you on the right path. So you understand the mission of our organization. Moving forward, our organization is hyper-focused on three things. We will continue to advocate and pour resources to closing the achievement gap for low-income students. The achievement gap is where average middle-income students perform academically and where low-income students perform compared to them. So the average third grader in a middle-income community is performing at the third grade level. The average low-income student in a low-income community is typically performing at the first or second grade level. So when I say we're committed, as we have been, to closing that achievement gap, making sure we provide additional tutoring, mentoring, that support system, so that these kids have extra time, extra resources, and intervention services so we can close that gap. The challenge, though, is that through this pandemic, with virtual learning, that gap got wider. Every case study that's been produced in the last few months demonstrates that for every low-income student that was going to school virtually, they basically fell back even further than they normally do. And for middle-income students that typically are performing at their normal level, they're actually performing at a lower level because they also didn't get the same quality of the educational experience through virtual learning. So we have catching up to do. The other priority are these emergency resources that we detailed earlier, the food, the laptop, the devices, making sure that during the cold season that we get these warm clothes out to folks. I didn't mention earlier as I spoke about the origin of the chalk clinic. Felipe's parents could not afford to go to the doctor and they did not have health insurance. They were saving whatever leftover money they had so that they can buy him a sweater for the winter. They never had the opportunity to do that. It's stories like this that drive our organization to make sure that these types of tragedies never happen again. And that we as an organization are providing the support systems, the mentors, the relationships that families need in order to thrive. Our last priority is mental wellness. This isn't a new priority for us, but it certainly has been increased and expanded for us through this pandemic. There are now more case studies that are demonstrating the impact of this pandemic and what it will lead to long-term damage to kids. The trauma that they went through will have some form of impact on how they grow up as kids. Prior to this pandemic, there was a rise on child depression and child suicide. This pandemic has pushed people further into isolation, and what we're seeing and hearing from a lot of our, especially our older teens, is that during this pandemic, away from their friends, away from their social circles, we're all social beings and we need that as part of our life. These teens, these young kids felt isolated. They felt alone. They lost hope. And the worst feeling that anyone could have is to be hopeless. So our organization has been bringing on new partners. We've been increasing the level of training and professional development for our staff. And over the next few months, we'll be introducing some new initiatives that will provide therapy services and mental wellness support systems to our kids and their parents. This is who we are. This is why we exist. And no matter what crisis comes our way, our Boys and Girls Club will continue to evolve and step up and be the organization that people can count on. That does not happen without your support. And I want to thank you. Through this difficult time and any other time that will come in front of us, we can always count on you and our community to support the mission of our Boys and Girls Club. On behalf of every single child that we serve, every parent that trusts their kids at our Boys and Girls Club, and more importantly, every kid that we will serve someday, I extend our deepest gratitude to you. I believe we have a mission video just to kind of show you a little bit of the impact that we've had over the last few months.
I believe that everything in life happens for a purpose and a reason, and everything that I've gone through in life sometimes has not made any sense. But I believe that those things have prepared me for greater things. I'm a daughter of immigrant parents. My mom came here when she was young. I was born here in the United States, but around 2 years old, my dad abandoned us, so my mom decided to go back to Mexico, and she took me with her. And I pretty much grew up in Mexico till the age of 12. I always wanted to come back to the United States to pursue my career, my education, and my uncle decided to help me. When I first got here, it was pretty hard because I had to assimilate to a new culture. I pretty much started living with strangers, even though they were family members. I didn't have any close friends. Everything was, the food, language, music, everything, and it was really, really hard. I dealt a lot with depression, and I missed my mom, my little brother, and it was just really, really hard. I believe that no matter where you come from or who you are, you can achieve your goals. You know, my main motivation was to pursue my education and one day create an impact. I want to double major in college, studying computer science and chemistry, as well as getting a minor in business and political science. I want to contribute to society, to my community. I believe that education is very important, and that's how I can achieve that. It's a way for me to get to where I want to get to. Honestly, as a first-year generation student, it's been hard to figure out how to apply to college and how everything works in general. The Boys and Girls Club, as well as the College Bound, have helped me tremendously. I don't know where I would be without it. I've been part of College Bound for about 4 years now, and it has taught me a lot of things. I've gained a lot of knowledge, and I'm very confident that I've been able to accomplish all things that I've been able to accomplish so far because of it. I am a first-generation student who pretty much doesn't have a lot of opportunities, but since I joined this program, I've been given a lot of things, and a lot of doors have opened for me. I am beyond grateful for being part of the College Bound and the Boys and Girls Club. They have believed in me, and they have helped me to achieve my goals and dreams, and it's just been amazing. I believe that this is an honor and a privilege because not everyone has this, and for me to have this is just like an opportunity for me to take advantage of and keep going no matter what happens. And it has got me to where I am right now. And I think that all the experiences that I've gone through have shaped me and have just pushed me to become that person that I want to be for others. That's the reason why I want to make so much impact and be someone that can help others and contribute to society. I'm excited to see where I'm gonna go next.
It was mentioned earlier, but through the pandemic, we served over 2,500 teenagers via Zoom and provided them the same level of service that they were getting before the pandemic. I want to recognize our College Bound team for their innovation and their ability to keep up the work. In addition to the VIPs that we've recognized tonight, I want to invite Evangelina, who's actually here with us tonight, and as she's walking up, I want to share a little bit about her. She's a student at Orange High School at one of our sites in Orange. Her first choice for college is Harvard, second choice, Stanford. I don't know if you've heard of those two schools. I would have been lucky just to be accepted to the Dutton School of Truck Driving when I was your age, so congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here this evening. I am Evangelina, and I am so honored to be here today and share my story with you. I recognize that my story is just one of many other stories that are impacted by the generosity of many companies and individuals like you. The caring support that you show will leave lasting experiences that will contribute to our learning, and I'm just so grateful because it has changed my life and it has made an impact. The caring support that you show will leave lasting experiences and impressions as we, the beneficiaries, go on to achieve our greatest potential and seek to make our community a better place. I hope you'll know how grateful I am for everything you've done to make the Boys and Girls Club a place where we all can be inspired, empowered, and mentored. Thank you.
So Evangelina doesn't know this, but we are presenting her an additional $1,000 scholarship in addition to the scholarships you've received with our Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank
You actually should not take that one to the bank. We'll give you a real one. Next, I'd like to introduce a close friend of ours of the club, our auctioneer for the evening, Mr. Grant Snyder.
Thank you, Robert. Evangelina, come on up here. I've got a couple questions for you. Let's hear it for the future, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give her a big hand. So, I heard that your first choice of college is
Harvard,
right? Which is like my 800th choice. And my second choice was Santa Monica College, and yours is?
Stanford.
Stanford, of course. Of course it's Stanford. But there's one thing that I think is missing in your pedigree. and that is, I think you need to be an assistant auctioneer for the night. What do you think, audience? So you ready?
Yeah.
Tonight, we need to continue to raise money for this incredible community organization, and we're going to start by asking everyone on the internet all over to put their phones down. And tonight, I'm going to ask everyone tonight in the room to find their paddles. And everyone find your paddles right now as we go through the various levels. And on the count of 3, raise those paddles up in the air and wave them for why we're here tonight. And we're together. Everyone, I want to show you how easy this is. Are you ready? Thank you all for your $100,000. Good night, everybody. It's that easy. We're done. I wish it was. But tonight what we're going to do is we're going to start at a high level and we're going to work our way down. And the goal is that everyone at every table raise your paddle once for the future of our country. You ready?
Yes.
All right. So do you want to read what the amounts are, or do you want to just find the amounts? What would you like to do?
Find the amounts.
Okay, then you're over here, right, in front center. And I'm going to tell everyone in the room what each amount will mean for the Boys and Girls Club. So we're going to start high, right? We're going to start at $15,000, which can support high school seniors just like you to receive a college scholarship from the club. And I want to recognize Ann McPherson, who is not here tonight, but she gave $15,000. Unbelievable. So this is where we say, is there anyone else tonight who would like to raise their paddle tonight and join Ann at $15,000, or roughly the cost of your valet parking tonight? Anybody at $15,000? If not, we thank Ann one more time. Let's have a big hand for Ann. Thank you, Ann. And we say, what will $10,000 do? And $10,000 will help the club impact the devastating learning loss caused from the pandemic, as the club serves more than 9,000 kids. And I also want to recognize the Witten family, who are not here tonight, but they gave $10,000. Let's give it up for the Witten family. And so I would like to throw it out there tonight. Is there anyone here that would like to raise their paddle at $10,000 and join the Witten family? Anybody at $10,000? We've done 15. We've done $10,000. We'll get going. Trust me on this, okay? How about a nice hand for the Witten family at $10,000? Thank you. All right. $5,000 can provide tuition support for hundreds of families who are struggling, and they rely on the club's leadership. And I want to recognize the Stoffer family, who have raised their paddle tonight at $5,000. Let's hear it for them. They're not here tonight as well. They'll be here next year. But I will throw it out there right now. Is there anyone in the room that would like to raise their paddle at $5,000? Okay, now we got some work done to do, right? You got to call their numbers out.
141, 211, 196.
All right, and 217.
217.
Yes, that's right, 217 over here.
116, 166.
Right. It's a little louder. Let's go. Right? How many was that at $5,000?
6.
6. You're a math major. 6 at $5,000. Is there one more hand up? Is there one more hand up at $5,000? Anybody else at $5,000? How about a big hand for those 6 at $5,000? Now we're working. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. $2,500 will make a difference for more than the 7,000 kids served through the club's health and wellness program, a.k.a. Triple Play. That's an example of what $2,500 will do. If 4 of you raise your hand up tonight at $2,500, that'll mean another $10,000. Who'd like to raise their paddle up tonight at $2,500? Anybody? At 25. Thank
113.
You. Thank you, number 113 at 2,500.
136.
Thank you, number 136 at 2,500. This is when I normally go Ferris, Bueller. That's 2 at $2,500. Is there 2 more hands up to get us to $10,000? At $2,500, is there one more hand up? Anybody else at $2,500? If not, how about a big hand for those 2 paddles giving us another $5,000? I also want to tell you that $1,000 will provide the necessary resources for families to participate in the family strengthening activities Thank you, Gary McCardle at $1,500, and thank you, Strategic Global Advisors at $1,000. That's an example of what $1,000 will do. Who wants to raise their paddle tonight at $1,000? Who will give $1,000? Thank you, bidder number 201.
106, 150, 152.
She's very good at this. This is called succession planning. Bidder number 150 at $1,000. Thank you. Who else at $1,000? That's 5 at $1,000. Anybody else at $1,000? Going once, going twice. Big hand for those 5 at $1,000. $500 will deepen the impact made by our food distribution program, which has produced 500,000 meals. Who'd like to give $500 tonight to continue the incredible
192,
work?
193, 199.
We got to go real slow. All right, hold on. Evangelina, take 2. Ready, go.
110, 187, 114, 199, 134,
Slow down.
193, 192, 197, 170, 139, 183.
All right, did we get all those? Did you get them all, Jackie? Right, let's hear it for all those who gave $500. Now, don't get too good at this, all right? All right, $250 will help re-engage the schools through the early literacy program. Another great program, and that's an example of what $250 will do. Let's see how many paddles up tonight at $250. Thank you, bidder number 122, Doctor. Thank you, number 154. Thank you, bidder number 104. Come on, we can clap for these bidders. Thank you, bidder number 132. Now watch.
145.
Evangelina, I'm actually going to get in the mosh pit.
149.
She's too good.
800.
She's stealing my
112.
lines. I love it. Keep going.
That's it.
Okay. 140. Keep the paddles up in case we didn't get it.
800, 112.
All right. Anybody else? How about a big?
137.
Where's that?
137.
Thank you. 137. And now you've got to say, can I find one more at $250?
One more.
At $250. Thank you, bidder number 107. See how easy this job is? Thank you. What a smile, by the way. The last amount is $100, and it'll show that you're a valued investor in all the programs that we've talked about tonight and services to more than 9,000 kids. And so if we got 25 hands up at $100, that would be $2,500. So $100. For those of you on the internet, please join us as well. And we're going to call out the numbers at $100 very slowly. You ready, Evangelina? Go ahead.
109, 132, 124, 150, 175,
Slow down a little.
126,
Yep.
213, 124, 133, 125, 205, no, 201.
201.
173, 108, 143, 129, 165, 177, 191, 124, 109, 138, 111.
Oh my gosh, let's hear it for all those who just gave $100. Evangelina, let's give it up, ladies and gentlemen. My assistant auctioneer, you did wonderful tonight. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for all those who gave tonight. Let's hear it for all of you tonight. And for all of you on the internet, thank you for joining us. We are going to bid the people on the internet adieu. And for those of us who are still here, we've got a little